Hello, math people. Today we're going to look at factoring polynomials, trinomials, when a is not equal to 1. So in the last video, we looked at factoring trinomials when a is equal to 1, and we're going to take certain aspects of that and use in this video as well. But before we do that, let me remind you of the standard form of a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c. So we need to know that a is the coefficient of your x squared. It's the numerical part in front of the x squared. B is the number before x, and c is a constant. So in doing this part, when we're doing this, the first thing we need to do is multiply. So our first step is to multiply a and c. Okay? So after we multiply a and c, we're looking for two numbers. So find our magic numbers. Find two numbers that add to get b and multiply to get ac. And just like we did in the previous video, we are going to use x. But we're going to add a box to it. So I call this method x box. So we're going to add an x. And what we're going to put at the top of x is ac. And at the bottom of x, we're going to put b. And of course, on the side are going to be our magic numbers. Okay? And then when we get our magic numbers, we're going to set a box up to factor. And what that box is going to look like, we're going to put in here, in the top left, we put A. In the bottom left, we're going to put C. At the top right, we put A. Bottom left, we put C. And then we're going to put our magic numbers. Okay, so that's what that's going to look like. So we got to start with the box. Start with the x and then take the information from the x and put it in the box. And then we're going to take the information from the box and factor it. So got a couple of steps here. So let's start with this first problem. We're going to multiply a times c, and what do we get? We get 2x squared when I multiply a times c. So in my x, I'm going to put AC, which is 2x squared. Then in the bottom, I'm going to put B, which is 3x. Now I have to ask myself, what two numbers can I multiply to get 2x squared and add to get 3x? Well, there's not my choice here. To multiply to get 2 is only 2 and 1. So I have 2x and 1x. Now, that's my x. Now I'm going to go from my x to the box. And in the box, I put in the top left, I put a, which is going to be 2x squared. And in the bottom, I put 1. And in between, I put my magic numbers. So this would be 1x and 2x. All right. What two numbers can I multiply? What is the greatest common factor between 2x squared and 1x? Well, the only thing they have in common would be an x. What's the GCF between 2x and 1x? That would be 1. What's the GCF between 2x squared and 2x? 2x. And the GCF between 1x and 1 would be 1. So when I factor this, I get 2x plus 1 and x plus 1. And I got that from the side numbers here. So this is 2x plus 1 and x plus 1. And that 1, that's not a subtraction sign. That's under that 1. I wrote that earlier. Okay? Okay, let's try another one. We're going to start by multiplying a times c, and we get negative 12x squared. So that goes at the top of our box, and b goes in our middle box, so that'll be negative 1x. All right, what two numbers can I multiply to get negative 12? So remember, one has to be positive and one has to be negative. So 12 would be 6 and 2, 3 and 4. And I think we have a winner, 3 and 4. And if I want this number to be negative, the bigger of these two must be negative, because 3 plus negative 4 is negative 1. So I'm going to make this 3x, and I'm going to make this negative 4x. And then I set up my box. And remember, I put A in the top left. In the bottom right, I put C. And I put my magic numbers in between. Okay? All right, so what's the GCF between 3x squared and 4x? Simply x. What's the GCF between 3x and negative 4? 1. What's the GCF between 3x squared and 3x? 3x. What's the GCF between negative 4 and negative 4x and negative 4 would be 4. Negative 4, sorry. If a negative is in the first box, then when we pull out, we're going to pull out a negative. So this gives me 3x minus 4, x plus 1. All right, let's do another one. We got to start by multiplying a times c, and we get negative 10x squared. And so the negative 10x goes here. B goes in the bottom, so this is negative 9x. And then we have to find our magic numbers. What two numbers can we multiply together to get negative 10 and add to get negative 9? Well, we only have two choices, and that is, I'm sorry if that switch, 10 and 1 and 2 and 5. And so I think it's going to be 10 and 1. So this be 10, this is 1. Which one is negative? The 10 has to be negative because I want b negative. Okay, so now I'll put it all in my box. A goes here. Once you get the pattern, it's not that bad. It is a little bit more work than the others, but once you get the pattern, it's not bad. So we put negative, I'm going to put positive 1 here and negative 10x here. Okay. So what's the GCF between 2x squared and negative 10x? That would be 2x. The GCF between 1x and negative 10, that would be positive 1. And the GCF between negative 10 and negative 5, since negative is on the top, that would be negative 5. And the GCF between 2x squared and x is just x. So my answer is x minus 5, 2x minus 1. Okay, so if you're following along with me in your notes and are on page 7, then you need to notice that there was a typo here. So that should be negative 17 in the middle. So make sure you put a 1 here. Okay? All righty. I hope that's the only typo in this worksheet. All right, so the first thing we want to do is multiply 5 times 12 to get AC, and that's 60x squared. Then we're going to bring down negative 17. What two numbers can I multiply to get 60 and add to get negative 17? I think 5 and 12. And since 60x squared is positive and negative 17 is negative, then they both must be negative. So let's do our box. We're going to put A here. We're going to put C here. And then we're going to write our magic numbers. Negative 5x and negative 12x. All righty. So what's the GCF between 5x squared and negative 12? Just 5. The GCF between negative 5 and 12 would be negative 5, because the negative is the first one. and I just lied to you, it's not negative 5. It would just be negative 1 because there is no GCF between 12 and 5. Oh, I cannot get an erase. I keep choosing other things. There we go. All right, sorry about that. So that would just be negative 1. It's negative because the first term is negative. And then the GCF between negative 12 and 12 would be negative 12. And the GCF between 5x squared and negative 5 would be positive 5x because the negative is not in the top. So I don't know what I'm thinking. I hope you caught that the GCF here is just x. It's not 5x. That's just x, sorry. So this is x minus 1, 5x minus 12. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm going to do one more with you, and then I'm going to let you do the last 3 on your own, the last 4 on your own. All right, so for this one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to multiply a times c and get negative 2. We're going to put negative 1 in the bottom. And again, our choices are limited. Only thing I could do is 2x and 1. And I just need to figure out which one is negative. And I think it's negative 2 because the one at the bottom is negative. So the bigger number has to be negative. All right, and here we go in our box. Because 1x plus negative 2x is negative 1x. That's why. Okay, let's make our box. A goes here. C goes here. And my magic numbers of x, 1x, and negative 2x goes here. Okay, so my GCF here is 2x. My GCF here is just 1. My GCF here is x. My GCF here is be negative 1 because the top term is negative. So we get 2x plus 1, and then x minus 1. Okay, boys and girls, why don't you pause the video and try the next 4 on your own and then come back and finish. Okay. All right, welcome back. Now, because our leading coefficient here is 1, I really didn't have to use the box for this one. I could have just used the x. And what can I multiply to get negative 27 and add to get 6? Okay, and then for this one, I have to use the box again. So it's going to be 7x. I'm just going to do this one in my head. Oh, that one's easy. 1, no, 2, and 1. 7x, not x. Okay. This one I'm going to multiply 4 times 15 and get 60. So 60x squared would go here. 15 would go here. What can I multiply to get 15 and add to get 6 and multiply to get 60? 12 and 5. So I'm going to set up my box. And I'm going to put A here. I'm going to put C here. And I'm going to put my magic numbers in the middle. Okay? So what's the GCF between 4x squared and 5x? That would just be x. And the GCF between 12x and 15 would be 3. And the GCF between 4x squared and 12 would be 4x. And between 5x and 15 would be 5. So it is 4x plus 5, x plus 3. Okay? And then this last one, some of them it's easier for me to do in my head. So I'm just going to do it in my head. What can I multiply to get a negative 15 out there? 6 and 5. So I'm trying to get 15. Maybe I can't do it in my head. 5 would give me 10. 3 would give me 6. So 3 here and 5 here. And I want it negative, so that will give me this one and that one, I think. Okay? So those are what you should have gotten for your answer. That's that'll give me -6, and that'll give me 5x, and I added -1 in the middle. Okay, boys and girls, so those are how you factor. So remember, you want to do an x. You put AC at the top, B at the bottom, and find your magic numbers. And then in your box, you're going to put A in the top left, C in the bottom right, and put your magic numbers diagonally. And then factor out of GCF, factor out of GCF, factor GCF, factor GCF, and those are your factors. Okay? All righty. Thank you.